Rob and Slim Show. We are back with Mickael from Cinemania. Mickael, is it cinemania.co?
Cinemania.co, yeah.
Okay, that's what I was pretty sure. I didn't want to say it wrong.
Yeah, you got it.
Nice, dude. And what is your site dedicated to? Like, is it like B movies?
Basically, yeah, I like to do like B movies, exploitation, old like sci-fi movies, just sort of all the crap and crud that gets overlooked these days.
Oh, okay.
Is that like your favorite?
Yeah, basically, like I always have sort of had a fondness for bad movies. Like there's a tendency for a lot of people to sort of like bad movies, maybe like in an ironic way or whatever. I don't know, but I just genuinely love movies that some people think suck. So over the years, I just sort of started accumulating a bigger and bigger collection of sort of like obscure shit or just stuff that just sort of gets overlooked. Things that just people maybe they write off because they heard some bad things about it and then they never went to revisit it or form their own opinion.
So it's stuff that you just kind of find something creative about it that other people aren't seeing?
Yeah, I guess there's like I think of it's like very genuine when someone goes, they put all this effort into trying to make something. They work their ass off, all these writers and editors and directors and costume people, and they pour their heart and soul to something, and then it's cheesy or it just doesn't look right on screen or whatever. And I think there's something cool about that. It's like you can sort of feel the humanity in it. It's in their foibles and their mistakes. You sort of understand that, like, hey, these are real people. Movies shouldn't always be like a roller coaster where they do all the work and you just sit back and enjoy yourself. Sometimes you should have to, put in some effort to enjoy the movie too, I think.
Cool, man.
You're gonna ask Lee.
Yeah, speaking of what are some of your favorite B-rated movies, particularly like from the 1980s? Because I think the 80s produced some of like the best, B flicks,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because of the VHS boom, everyone was sort of able to make movies that wouldn't get shown in theaters, so they were able to do hardcore gore or more nudity or different stuff like that. So, I mean, some of my personal favorites, there's one called Steel Justice from the late 80s. It stars the bad guy from Karate Kid, the guy that ran the Cobra Kai dojo.
Oh, I was thinking Johnny. I didn't know it was the sensei.
Yeah. So, like, he's like this, badass military commando guy that, has come back from Vietnam, and he's sort of doing like a Rambo thing where he's just going around town and then crazy shit happens and he has to take up arms and, kick ass and take names. But it's just sort of so ridiculously bad with the cheesy music montage in the middle with all the, 80s girls dancing and doing aerobics and stuff. And then,
leotards and leg warmers.
Yeah, like leg warmers and everything's like
big
hot
hair.
And everything. And then he has like a snake he carries around. It's the smallest fucking snake you've ever seen. It's supposed to look like a coral snake, but it's just like a king snake.
Like a garter snake?
Yeah, it's like a harmless little king snake, but he walks around with it and then holds it up to people. He's like, hey, this snake is named Two Steps. You know why it's called Two Steps? Because if he bites you in 2 steps, you'll be history, And
That's great. I was thinking too when you asked that, Pete. I was thinking I love the one called everybody knows it. They Live. I think it was a John Carpenter movie.
Yeah, with Roddy Piper.
Yes,
and John Carpenter
and also I think it was the early '90s. The Jack Frost with the murdering snowman. It was like the spirit of a serial killer and.
Definitely.
I love the first Toxic Avenger movie.
I never saw that.
It's great.
Is it cool?
It is great. At the time, he was the only superhero from Jersey, too.
Oh. I think they threw back to that in the new Ninja Turtles animated series on Nick. There's one guy who's a garbage man, and he gets mutated into he's just a big pile of garbage. He's fucking
that was kind of what he was. He was just like, he fell in like toxic... bunch of bullies pushed him in toxic waste. He was like some retard.
Who makes it? Is that Trauma Studios?
Yeah, that's Tromaville, yeah.
That's Trauma, yeah.
Cool. What is your favorite genre of those movies, Mickael?
Oh, man, I don't know. It's hard to say because, like, I just like everything. So if I have to pick one genre, I normally go for, like, monster movies just because it ties in so many different things that I like. I like... science fiction, I like crazy explosions, and I like, wacky monsters. And so if I can go to, like, a classic monster movie, I know I'm normally going to be entertained. But, man, I like so much stuff. It's like trying to pick, like, your favorite band or something. Like, you can't say you just like one genre of music.
Yeah.
You have to like, a little bit of everything. So, it really depends on your mood, on what you want to do, and who you're hanging out with, too, because, movies are really like, they should be more a communal thing. Like, it should be more getting together with friends or loved ones rather than just sitting at home alone and just doing something you want to do.
I heard that Quentin Tarantino, he has like, I think every week he does he has a theater in his house where he has like, yeah, all sorts of friends over, like you said, and he has a projector and they all sit and they all watch a movie in his house. That's really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely does that. He shows like all the old like all the old like reel-to-reel movies and old like exploitation films from the 70s.
That's he does that. What is your favorite of the monsters? Like in like Godzilla type, King Kong. What is your favorite?
I'm a big fan of Mothra, just because Mothra is just sort of so wacky and wild. Like, I don't want my monster to actually be kind of intimidating and scary. So Mothra is just a big ass butterfly with rainbow wings, and it's all fuzzy looking and shit. And these two little tiny girls come out. They're like these little priestesses, and they come out and sing, and they sing to summon Mothra. There's like nothing intimidating about this.
I never knew that.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I never knew that. That's
Mothra
one of those.
That's one of those movies.
Was Mothra like a bad monster?
Yeah,
well, one of them
Mothra against
like
Godzilla.
They like give birth to like two caterpillars, and I think one of them goes bad. Like the other
one of them is a bad egg. Wow.
What?
Were you? I'm sorry.
I was just gonna ask, do you bother with any of these remakes, especially with there being that's ironic.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Any of these remakes, especially with this surge in like the monster movies, like you got the new Godzilla and they're doing a King Kong movie. Do you even bother to see any of those?
Yeah, of course. Like that's the thing. Even though I sort of like I bathe and wade in the waters of the shitty stuff at home in that cesspool of like toxic filth, when I still want to go see the new movies. So
cool.
like I saw the new Godzilla. I saw, actually just this last year, the Toho in Japan actually made a new Japanese Godzilla, which a lot of people didn't see yet. So we went out and it had a really limited showing in America, and we rushed out to see that, and that was pretty good.
That's
Can't
cool.
wait for Kong Skull Island. That's going to be fun. But like, yeah, I go to the theater probably every week or sometimes twice a week to see the new stuff too, because it's a sort of, it gives you something different to appreciate. It won't ever be as much fun as like the old rubber monsters, but it can still be a good time. My theater serves alcohol, so everyone's good.
Nice. I saw too. Your site is very good. You have the forums, you have articles, and like a trailer section.
Yeah. I try to put as much content in there as I can. I mean, I'm pretty busy. I do like a normal straight job, 40 hours a week. So this is just sort of like a hobby in my free time, but it's something I want to make sure that there's something enjoyable for somebody to be able to come and share their opinions and sort of discover something. Like the whole goal of the site isn't to like, promote something or to sell something or to make any money. The whole goal of the site is just to sort of be that buddy that everyone had when they were in grade school that recommended something that was a crazy off the wall, over the top movie that you'd never heard of otherwise.
I think people are losing that nowadays, like that word of mouth type thing. Like people have gotten lazy, they're introverted with the internet and all, and they've lost that.
Well,
yeah, like
part of what destroyed, I think, the music industry kind of too was that word of mouth thing.
Yeah, dude, because I always checked out my dad's albums, or you hear a friend talk about a CD or an album coming out, a tape, whatever. Like,
yeah, definitely. Because I think like with now they have so much access to everything. Everything's streaming. You can go on Amazon Prime, on Netflix, on Hulu, on whatever. You can see whatever you want whenever you want. And like back in our day, like you just had to turn the dial on the TV, and whatever you saw was what you were going to watch. Like you didn't have much of a choice. Especially like if you were growing up poor and you didn't have cable or whatever. Like
I didn't.
There was like some summers where it's like I just had 3 to 4 channels to choose from.
Mickael,
whatever I was going to see.
I'm sorry, I just totally had a movie come back to me. What was the one? I hope you know it. What's the one where it was like a family and they looked like the picture perfect family, but they were eating all the neighbors. They were like cannibals. Do you know what movie that is?
I don't know.
Oh, I have to look that one up. That was one, like you said, that made me think of it, like not having cable. It was like Channel 9, WWOR back in the day. Like it was like one of the Saturday afternoon movies. And it was that movie. It was like, it was really, really creepy. Like it creeped me out. It was cool.
Kind of like what the Burbs could have.
Yeah, the Burbs was awesome.
What direction
like you're saying, like
went
movies
into.
that never would have got made nowadays. I feel the Burbs would be one of those.
Yeah.
Like
I love The Burbs.
Yeah, that movie was great.
I do love a lot of those older horror movies too, like the first Wishmaster movie was
Yeah.
amazing. The first Leprechaun movie I even liked. Those are great.
It's got like young Jennifer Aniston in it.
Does it?
Yeah.
Which one? The Leprechaun or the other one?
The original Leprechaun.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw. I think I saw Leprechaun in the Hood because that's who wouldn't, right? Dude, my dad just saw one of the later Jasons. I think it was like in space or something. But he said he never saw Jason even in the movie. It was like an hour and a half into the movie. He just turned.
I think it was called Jason X. I think it's
Yeah.
called. Yeah.
He said there was
Jason
a
X.
black guy or something that went to hell, and it was just it was real. What he explained, it was just really awkward and weird. Like, I'm like, I never want to hear you say that again, Dad.
You gave him like a metal mask or something.
I don't know. He said whatever, but like I said, it was just being silly. But yeah, he said he never saw Jason after like an hour and 15 minutes, so he just turned it
I
off.
have a relative who was a dead body in that movie.
The first one was filmed around here, right?
Up in Voorhees, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, not Voorhees, that's his last name.
That's
Yeah,
what
I was gonna
that's what I
say,
thought.
that's,
up in Sussex County it was filmed.
Okay, it was a
Yeah.
Boy Scout camp, right?
Yeah.
Cool. What shit, Michael. I was a little nervous. I was gonna say when I first asked you to come on, and you said I'll listen to your show and I'll let you know. Like, but that's cool because we had a guy that was supposed to be on later that I guess listened to us after he I booked him, and I guess he just felt like he would not fit in with us, and he didn't tell me till after I was already confirming pretty much.
Oh man, yeah. And I just like to listen to them before I go on one, just because I just want to know like what's the tone. Is this like super serious stuff? Like, because some people like to take their shit like so seriously, and they want to be really detail oriented and go into all these crazy explanations of why movies what movies mean to them and all these metaphors that they're looking for and stuff. And that's really not what I do. I mean, what I do is more just I'm just interested in crazy bad movies. I can see some of the analogies and the metaphors and the deeper shit, I guess, but I mean, I'm not looking to like better myself with a movie, right? Like, I want to see a movie. I just kind of want to have a good time. Like, I want to know how many drinks it's going to take me to get through it, and that's about it. Like, I'm going to make the movie fun to work together.
There really are people that use movies as like self-help, like it changes their life.
There's people that like they think a movie is worthless or it's bad if it doesn't, have some resonant message that changes the world or whatever. It's like they use words like cliche, like it's bad. And I'm like, that's a bad thing. Like, cliches, they're cliches for a reason. Like there's a reason that there's always a car chase in an action movie. And there's a reason that some woman always has to show her tits before she dies in a horror movie.
So have you been on like a show like that?
Like, yeah, have you ever done a show where you've like, fuck, why did I do that? I should have looked into it.
No. I try to like avoid any of those like pitfalls. That's the thing. I'll listen to everybody before I ever go on with somebody.
Cool.
I always know, like, I want to make sure that like they're at least like-minded. Like, I don't care if they're a little serious, but like at least if they understand. I don't want to be with anybody that's too full of themselves or whatever.
On the other hand, we have had guests come on and then be like super pissed afterwards, either blog about it or just like email, like, I should have looked into your show before. Yeah, motherfucker, you were coming on. You should have checked us out.
I can't believe what you guys do. I mean, being able to do like a 4-hour show like this is just ridiculous. Like in the podcast age, like you guys are really doing the classic morning radio kind of thing. And your show's wicked good produced. Like, I don't know who produces your show, but it's well done.
Thank you.
That's Slim.
Better podcast I've heard.
Thank you, dude. Thank you so much. Yeah, Slim. I could never do that shit. I don't even understand half the shit. A lot of guys will come to me and ask me a question, and I'm like, you have to talk to Slim. He knows all this shit. He's like, whatever, we got set up, he figured it all out on his own.
Yeah,
too.
because to do like the live radio type of thing, when we started, nobody in the podcast world was doing that at all. Nobody was having people call in. Nobody was doing live. It's all pre-recorded, and nobody was doing 4 hours. Everyone was doing like 20 minutes. So I couldn't find tutorials on anything. I had to just kind of figure it out. I found, bits and pieces, like this guy does this, so I'm like, all right, well, I can take that and implement that with this and see what happens.
And I did it back in the day. One of my buddies, he did a lot of hip hop, and I had the mic that I use now, just from like, working with him, and like I did record stuff for my buddy Rick. He did a radio show. I'd record some stuff and send it to him. that kind of thing. And I did like I did animate for a while, and I used it for recording the voices on that. And then I had that other thing, that external sound card, and I forget what I used that for. I think just to I don't know why I bought it, but one of my buddies said you had to have this thing if you were doing this kind of crap. And I was like, Slim, when we started, I'm like, I have this crap. Like, if any of it's useful. And Slim figured out that external sound card is how to get the Skype going to the computer or whatever to the board. It's like, it's cool that shit just fell together.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. Because most of these podcasts are just some Brooklyn hipster with $50 worth of Logitech audio equipment that they bought at Radio Shack or some shit, and they sound terrible. They drone on for 45 minutes about some nonsense. No one cares.
Some of the shit, like you said, some of the shit is
for themselves.
Yeah, you're going on way
I'm
too long.
I'm changing the world with my podcast.
World, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a difference.
No, you're not.
No, absolutely not.
What was I gonna say too? I did want to ask you, Michael. When did at least in mainstream movies like Hollywood, when did CGI take over and real special effects go away? Is there a certain time that happened, year or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, you can really look to the very early 2000s, because there was still a lot of practical effects being done, even on something like The Matrix that you think of as being all CGI. They actually did a decent amount of practical effects on that with a lot of their car crashes and stunts like that. Obviously they had to resort to CGI for some of the other stuff they did, but they still did a lot of practical effects even in the sequels, from 2003.
Wow.
So really around that line is when you just sort of abandon it completely. 2004 is probably the year that it was crappy CGI, but CGI was using almost everything from 2004 on.
Okay.
When you look to some of those, the first Hulk movie that came out around that time for Ang Lee, that CGI was just terrible.
That was a terrible movie.
I couldn't even watch that movie. The one with was that Norton or was that?
Yeah, no, that was Eric Bana was. It was Bruce
before that.
And then Nick Nolte was his father.
I couldn't watch that steaming pile, dude. That was horrible.
I don't know. They were trying to go all artsy with it. How do you do that with the Incredible Hulk?
Yeah. Is there anything that's still done? Is like you said, car flips or chases or accidents? Is that still done regular, or is that even CGI now?
In a lot of movies, they resort to the CGI, but there's one, if you guys never saw it, the Need for Speed movie, the adaptation of the video game they did in whatever it was, 2014, 2015.
Right.
That one used the one that I think starred Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Jesse.
Almost all practical effects for their car stunts, and if you watch it, there's ridiculously crazy car stunts. But they did a whole family of stunt guys that just travel around and just do that, and they did an amazing job.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I think that's another one that kind of went under the radar because I think it got bad reviews, so nobody really checked it out.
Yeah, and it's one of those that I feel like if you understand how they made it, you'll appreciate it a lot more. But I appreciated it first watch. It was just fun because I like cars. I'm not a car guy. I didn't necessarily grow up fixing cars. But I watched Top Gear obsessively.
That is a good show.
That's a cool show, isn't that?
Those guys are funny.
And so when you watch that movie, they're not using the typical stuff. They have a Mustang is one of the main cars, but then they have Koenigseggs and Veyrons and stuff like that, especially towards the end. And it's you don't see those cars, not in American movies. So they use legitimately some of the best, fastest cars that you could possibly use on the planet. And then that type of attention to detail is something I appreciate. Because all the American car movies, it's a Charger versus a Mustang. It's no, these cars aren't that good.
Versus a Camaro.
Yeah.
The Camaro is probably the better out of the three of them.
Michael, I was going to ask too, are you a fan of martial arts movies at all?
Oh, hell yeah, yeah. I have way too damn many of the martial arts films, but it goes beyond just the Bruce Lee and the Jackie Chan and the Jet Lees of the world. There's some amazing martial arts movies that people just sort of don't see because they don't have the name recognition or whatever. But there's some amazing ones starring Cynthia Rothrock from the 80s. If you want something cheesy, she was just an ass-kicking redheaded lady. She's really short, but you put her over in Hong Kong where she was making all her movies, and she actually stacks up well versus all the short little guys she's fighting. So she just kicks ass as a badass reporter or a badass, lady cop and stuff.
There was that.
I was thinking of Kong Fury. You ever see Kong Fury?
Yeah.
Like, that was crazy.
There was that one. What is it? That one Chinese girl that was like real big in the '70s. That was like
Sure.
one of the movies she's in. They took that guy Steve Odenkirk made what is it? Kung Pao Enter the Fist or something.
Oh,
yeah.
I do know. I did see that.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. But he had her in it.
Yeah. One of the movies she's in, he puts himself into. Like he superimposes his face.
I think our buddy Joe lent me that once.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I had never seen it, and he's like, "Oh, you gotta check it out." That was a funny fucking movie.
It's fucking funny.
What about who's the guy that did Ong Bak? Tony.
Yeah, Tony
Jaa.
Jaa.
Tony Jaa, that
Ong
dude.
Bak the Thai warrior.
That dude's badass. He does just running down the street. He does a lot of real shit. And what was the new in Rogue One? The guy that was the blind monk.
Yeah, the
he's a
blind
real-
monk.
Donnie
That guy.
Yen. Yeah, Donnie Yen.
Not only that, in The Force Awakens, they had the guys from that movie, The Raid. They played the space pirates on board.
I
Yeah,
never saw that.
I didn't even realize that.
yeah, that was the guy. I'd never seen the movie, but I know about a lot about the movie, and the four, like the four main guys are in it. Like,
That's cool. That's cool. What is your favorite mainstream movie that's come out in, I guess, the past season?
I'm trying to think. There was like a bunch that we saw this last year that were good. I know the year before there was one called Crimson Peak by Guillermo del Toro, and that movie was just phenomenal. But that was October of 2015. This last year was kind of weak. Like 2015 was awesome, but this last year was sort of.
Did he make
sort of
the
like
Pan's Labyrinth?
Yeah, he made Pan's Labyrinth.
That
he did the
movie's
Hellboy
amazing.
movies, and-
That's right.
Yeah,
He
he
has
just does incredible stuff.
He just did like an animated cartoon for DreamWorks that's on Netflix called Troll Hunter. I think.
oh, that's him.
That's him.
Is it
yeah.
good?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've heard it's like really good.
I heard he
started
draws a lot
watching it.
too. Like he has a notebook. He constantly draws in like all those creatures in the movies. He's like Pan's Labyrinth. He draws all that.
I feel
shit.
like the way he does his movies, I feel like they're all like connected in some kind of small,
Some way?
like some tiny way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it feels like they all belong in the same universe for sure, just because of the odd, way that he builds these universes that are able to have more than one crazy creature or whatever. He never just does it so that it's a one-off mutant that just appeared out of nowhere. He always does it so that there's like a sub-society living underground of mutants or whatever. So you always get like this feeling that, there could be like a larger cinematic universe that's just, it's just not been tied together yet.
Yeah, like the one with the tooth fairies that this girl goes to this house and there's these weird demons living under the house and they're feeding them. They'll eat you. They eat people alive, but to appease them, you have to give them like teeth or something. Like,
wow.
and like
That's one of his movies.
Yeah, and they had the same sort of creature in the second Hellboy movie.
Okay.
Like the same exact sort of creature.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Mickael, thank you so much for talking to us, dude. Where can everybody find you?
I'm on Twitter at RealCinemania or the website cinemania.co. And like you said, there's forums on there, so you can go on and just sort of spout your own opinions if you want.
Awesome, dude. Thank you so much, dude. You're such a cool dude to talk to.
Oh, thank you very much. I had a blast.
Awesome, man.
All right, have a good one, man.
Have a good one, man.